Now this is how you do a video game masterpiece. Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it's time for another video game review today, and this time it's going to be for another video game released in 2023. And so far, this game I would regard as my favourite game that I've played released in that year. But it is also most definitely my favourite action game of 2023. And this game, which I'm going to review, is none other than 2023's RoboCop Rogue City. So, how was this video game made then? So, it was first announced, of course, to be in development by the company Teon several years ago in July 2021. And they also revealed the first gameplay trailer a year later. And it was pushed back as well a few months as well in 2023. It was going to be released in June of that year, but then got pushed instead to later on. And then, of course, as well, when it comes to console releases, it was confirmed to be released on the 9th generation consoles being PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and also as well on PC. It was going to be on Switch, but it got cancelled. And you know what? Rightfully so, in my opinion. Because sometimes I personally think that Switches can't handle ports of console games very well. So I'm kind of glad this game didn't get ported to it. So, when it comes, of course, to when the game was released, it was, of course, released on the 2nd of November 2023. And upon release, it received generally mixed reviews from critics. But when it comes, however, to my reaction to this game then, so this was a game that I was really, really desperate to play, because for those of you who don't know, I'm a massive fan of RoboCop, the original movie. I've seen it many times in my life, and to have a RoboCop video game was definitely something that I've wanted for a long time to play. And when I also found out that they got Peter Waller back to reprise his role for a game as RoboCop, I was definitely in. I was like, yes, I've got to play this game. And I saw gameplay trailers on YouTube, and I was definitely in because it looked awesome. And when I got a PlayStation 5 for Christmas as well last year, one of the two games I got alongside Spider-Man 2 was RoboCop Rogue City. And after I finished Spider-Man 2, I started RoboCop, and I finished that game as well. And upon finishing it, like, wow, this game to me is an absolute masterpiece. And so far, it's my favourite 2023 video game I've played, and I'll definitely regard it as my favourite action game of 2023. So, what is the video game about then? So, in this game, you of course play as the title character RoboCop himself, and Peter Waller reprised his roles as a character from the first two films, and you play as RoboCop in a first-person shooter game taking place in old Detroit, well, of course, taking place in the future. And the player must clear the city of criminals, conduct investigations, and you can also, as well, do police work in the game. And in terms of a timeline, the game is set in between the films RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3. Although, personally, I would say that, despite the occasional mention of certain events in those movies, pretty much, this game, in my opinion, feels very standalone. So you could pretend it's a continuation from the first movie, really, to be completely honest, because it doesn't really feel like a sequel to RoboCop 2, to be honest, in my opinion. And you know, that's probably a good thing, because I like to pretend that no film came after RoboCop 1, in my opinion, because I think that film ended perfectly on its own, really. So, and I absolutely really love this game, just an absolute masterpiece. So, when it comes to what I think is great about this game then, so the number one thing about this game that I absolutely love is that they got Peter Waller back to reprise his role as RoboCop, because there is no actor I would cast other than him as RoboCop. He's the only actor I can accept as RoboCop. And when I found out they got him back for this game, I was definitely in to play it, absolutely. Like, I was definitely so eager to play it when I heard they got him back for it. I had a feeling he would return, because he had of course, come back with RoboCop before in Mortal Kombat 11, so I had a feeling he'd probably come back for this game too, and yeah, he definitely did. And I think, once again, as always, he gave a phenomenal performance as RoboCop and made him such an amazing character like he always has been. And it was just an absolute joy to hear his voice in this game, playing it, and hearing many iconic catchphrases the character said. And of course, as well, you get treated to his catchphrase, of course, which is, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." I just love that catchphrase so much. And yeah, Peter Waller always delivers. It's always a pleasure to hear him as RoboCop in these games, and especially in this game in particular. And I personally think his voice has aged really well when you hear it in this game. It just sounds so great to this day, in my opinion. Like, it's hard to believe he's in his 70s. Like, wow. When it comes to rest of the cast, I think they also, in my opinion, did a very good job. As far as I know, Peter Weller was the only actor from the film to reprise his role as his character. I think everyone else got recasted, understandably because some of them have unfortunately passed away. So we got sound-alikes towards the characters in place of them. So, for example, when it comes to those who are not voiced by original actors, Anne Lewis appears in the game as your sidekick who assists you on missions, which is pretty cool. And she's voiced in this by someone called Kosha Engler. And I personally think she did a very good job trying to sound like Nancy Allen, in my opinion. And I also definitely really liked as well Mark Holden as the old man. And I think he also, in my opinion, did a very good job sounding like Dan O'Hurley, in my opinion. And he sounded pretty close to him, I must say, really. And also, the actor he got to play Sergeant Reed as well, in my opinion, was pretty close. So overall, I think the voice cast who were replacing those from the films, in my opinion, did a very good job trying to sound like them. And when it comes as well to original characters introduced in this, the main villain of this game is actually a brother to one of the henchmen from the first movie. Because if you recall that henchman who got covered in toxic waste towards the end of the first movie called Emil Antonowski, well, in this game, the main villain of it is his brother Wendell. And he was voiced in this by Joseph Kapp. And I think Joseph Kapp did a very good job playing Wendell, in my opinion, made him a pretty good villain, in my opinion, too. And I think his performance was really good in this. Like, he really showed so much eagerness for revenge against RoboCop for the death of his brother. And I definitely really love that about him very much. I think he did a really good job bringing the character to life in this. Made him a very good villain. And aside from as well a great cast of actors, another great thing about this game, in my opinion, as well, is also most definitely the gameplay. Like, the gameplay, in my opinion, is absolutely sick. Because if you actually play the game, it's a first-person shooter, and it's not really an open-world game per se, because it's more linear, really, but the maps you get to visit are very expansive. You can visit different places in them, and what's cool is, as well as, of course, doing your main objective, you can actually do side missions, which is pretty cool, and I did all of them for trophies. And there's also, as well, other ones you can do as well in the open world, which is really cool, such as, for example, doing police work. Like, one thing that I found pretty fun was probably, you know, upholding the law. For example, putting parking tickets on cars which are parked in the wrong way, and also, as well, dealing with crimes. I just really love that, and you can actually choose what to do as well in the game. And I chose to uphold the law because that's what RoboCop would do, of course. And so I definitely had so much fun playing this game because of the gameplay, and I also really appreciate how this game was also full of blood and gore too, because, as I've already said before in my reviews for films, RoboCop is a franchise which is not for children, so I'm so glad that this game maintained the blood and gore that the first film certainly had. And you can definitely see lots of it in this game. There's tons of it, really, and that's, of course, what RoboCop's all about, really. And I must say as well, the gunfights, in my opinion, are awesome. And your main weapon, of course, is RoboCop's Auto-9 machine pistol. And it has unlimited ammo too, so I definitely really appreciate that. So you can have endless fun with his machine pistol. You can also upgrade it too as well. And you also as well get a skill tree as well, where you can upgrade RoboCop's abilities, which is definitely really great too as well. And also as well, what's really cool as well in the game is also as well, I think one thing that makes this game a big standout when it comes to the games of 2023 is probably how it gets fan service right, because aside from, of course, having Peter Weller back as RoboCop and a great gameplay which fits the RoboCop franchise, I think it stays really faithful to the film, in my opinion. So, for example, of course, like, it maintains a great connection to the first film, because it mentions, of course, Alex Murphy's former life before he became RoboCop, and you get many visions of his wife Ellen and his son, which is definitely really cool. And I definitely really love that, how they connect to the first film, which is why I like to pretend this game is the only thing that comes after the first movie, nothing else into the movies after the original movie. And another thing I also definitely really appreciate about this was also as well with music, because I definitely think they did a really great job composing the music for this. And what's really awesome is they actually as well used the same theme song composed by Basil Polidorus, because that theme song for RoboCop from the first film is just absolutely legendary, and I think it was sorely missing in the second movie. So I'm so glad that the developers for this game brought back that theme in the soundtrack and recomposed it too. For example, on the main menu, you can hear it as like a piano version, and then in the game you actually hear it in its usual epic gloriness. Like, in your first shootout in the game, you hear the theme kicking off as you're shooting, Like, when I heard that theme when I was first in shooting, I got so hyped. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, this is what I live for as a fan of RoboCop. And you hear it as well many other times in the game too. Also got in the final shootout as well, which is just really epic in my opinion. Like, wow. Just the icing on the cake right there. And just how the game gets fan service right in my opinion. Just wow. And also as well, I think it also handles the story really well too in my opinion. Because I love how it connects to Alex Murphy's former life in the game. And of course how it introduces a villain who's actually a brother to a villain that Alex Murphy as RoboCop would have killed in the first movie. And I definitely really love that. And I also as well love how there's all different kinds of enemies you can fight in the game. Because you'll of course fight criminals in the game many times of course throughout it. In both missions and of course in open map areas of the levels. And also, as well, you'll also get to fight other machines. Like, one particular boss fight that I definitely really loved in this was getting to fight Ed 209. Like, wow, that was just so awesome. And I definitely really loved that fight scene. Just epic in my opinion. And when it comes as well to the game's final boss, spoiler alert for any guys who've not played it, but it's actually the old man from the first movie. Because in this game, he unfortunately, of course, dies from a heart attack, sadly. So, as a result of this, he ends up becoming RoboCop 2. As in, of course, the big mech suit from the second movie. Because he's uploaded his brain into it. Because he did it because he was inspired by RoboCop. But unfortunately, of course, the system malfunctions. And he of course, becomes a psychotic killing machine. And he, of course, as well, kills us the character called Becca. Who is, of course, the OCP, the Overseer. Of course, who of course, watches over RoboCop. So that was definitely really brutal, in my opinion, how it happened. And when it comes to a final fight between RoboCop and the old man as RoboCop 2, I will admit, yes, it was a bit rage-inducing, but it's only because I didn't know how to defeat the old man at first. Really, it was pretty hard to do. But after I looked at how to do it, I had to shoot a weak spot, which of course was like some sort of like disc on the armour. I was able to do it, eventually, after many tries. I also had to upgrade RoboCop's machine pistol many times too as well. But it was pretty hard to do though, but nonetheless though, the outcome was, in my opinion, really epic and just really awesome to see, nonetheless. And I definitely really enjoyed this game so much from start to finish. Like, because for this game, guys, I was smiling so much because of the fan service and the faithfulness and respect to the original movie. And, of course, getting to hear the legendary Peter Waller's voice as RoboCop, oh, just amazing right there. Like, this game was so great, I will buy it for $1. Absolutely. So, all I can say is that, you know, this game is definitely worth playing. Like, if any you guys want a really awesome action game, then please play this game. It's just really incredible, in my opinion. And if any of you guys are fans of the RoboCop films, then yeah, I would also definitely recommend this game strongly. Because it has everything I would want in a RoboCop video game. It's just absolutely epic in my opinion. It's just what you need really for the character. And I really think they absolutely nailed it with this game. So, if you haven't already, please play it. It's just really awesome. So, this is me, of course, doing my review for 2023's RoboCop Rogue City. So if I was to give this game a score out of 10, guys, well, because it's so far my favourite game of 2023 and my favourite action game of that year, I'll most definitely give it a full-blown 10 out of 10. Because I think it's an absolute masterpiece. The fan service was done so well. And Peter Waller's RoboCop, and also including the original theme in both the main menu and during the game, and also in the credits too. Like, wow, this game just was so respectful to RoboCop as a franchise. Like, wow. Like, I was just so happy when I played this game, and I would definitely recommend it if you really want a fun experience. I mean, in my opinion, this game as a third-person shooter is also, in my opinion, way better than today's Call of Duty as well. That's what I'll say, absolutely. And because Taylor won my respect to this game, I will most definitely get Terminator Resistance on PS5. I'll upgrade to that because they have my respect, and I trust they'll have done well with Terminator Resistance because I heard good things about that game. So, hopefully I'll enjoy that too. But anyway, guys, this is me, of course, doing my review for 2023's RoboCop Rogue City. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to tell us in the comments what you guys think of RoboCop Rogue City. If you play it, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe and we'll comment in the future. And I'll see you all later.